tam 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 takajanu takita sa nidapadi takita dhin dhin dhin. Tam 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 takajanu takita sa nidapadi takita dhin dhin dhin. Takajanu tatam takajanu takita tam takajanu takita tam 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 takajanu takita sa nidapadi takita dhin dhin dhin.
Bharatanatyam is a genre of Indian classical dance that comes from Tamil Nadu, the southernmost state on the Indian peninsula. The name is made of two words, Bharata and Natyam. Bharata is believed to be a mnemonic of Bhava, Raga, and Tala, meaning feelings, melody, and rhythm. It also is the name of the performance art stage of the Natya Sastra. Natyam is the Tamil word for dance. The dance comes from Sadir Natyam, also known by names like Dasai Atam or Chine Melam, or just Sadir. The forms come from the Natya Sastra and are used for temple worship or court performances and use themes of love and mythology.
Bharatanatyam is an Indian dance that's earliest form date all the way back to the 2nd century. The base of the dance traces back to an old Hindu text which divided the dance into two parts, Nrata and Nratya. The dance gained popularity and spread and prospered to many southern Indian temples. Then around the 18th and 19th century, there was an increase in British colonial rule and Christian missionaries that pushed an anti-dancing movement that led to Bharatanatyam to be exclusively practiced in Hindu temples. Eventually, the Indian community and classical art revivalists started to disapprove this ban and led a revival movement that made Bharatanatyam gain popularity and spread to a mainstream form of dance.
This dance is very deeply rooted into the Indian culture. All throughout the region, the dance symbolizes and idealizes the secret female figure, which is very common in a lot of Hindu gods. It is a very extensive dance showing the complexity and the almost non-human movements and traits of a Hindu god. It is very religiously rooted and serves to unify everybody under the same faith. So at parties, for example, they would have this showing, and then it would be everybody meeting together to really bask in the glory of the Hindu gods. It is the oldest form of classical dance in India, dated all the way back to the start of the Hindu religion, and is very, very prominent throughout the various sects of the religion as well.
Musical instruments of Bharatanatyam include a lead vocalist, the marine dengam, or a double-sided drum, the nadaswaram, or a long oboe type instrument, the natuvangam, or cymbals, the bansuri, an Indian flute, and then the violin and the veena. Instruments such as the bansuri and the natuvangam have been used in Indian music for ages and have deep cultural and religious significance, while other instruments such as the violin have been more recently introduced but still play a key role in the making of Bharatanatyam.
So Bharatanatyam itself is broken up into 7 different sequences or forms itself. The first one essentially is how the dance starts out. This is as the rhythm gets going, and what it represents itself is kind of a thank you to the gods and goddesses of the blessings for the performance team, the guru that is gathered there, as well as everyone, including the dancers themselves. The next stage of the performance essentially is whenever the rhythm starts being picked up, the drums will start to beat, dancer will start moving to that beat that's being produced. The next set is once words are start incorporated into the performance, the solo dancer or the vocalist will start presenting short conversations with words, meaning, and different moods. From there, we have what's essentially the whole entire core of the performance. This can last about 30 to 45 minutes long, and it's an easy way to think of as the main act. This is where the story itself is told using the dancer's hands and feet, and the music itself is going to put the mood for it. Moving on from there, lighter music is going to be played, and this whole section is really going to be about the spiritual message and devotional religious prayer, more expressive and just movements going on. And then finally, we'll get down to the climax of the performance, which pure movement and music, and it's kind of symbolizes the leaving of the temple and everything that goes on from there.
The techniques of Bharatanatyam are what make it such an iconic traditional dance. Dances are 108 transitional movements. They are made up primarily of leg, hip, body, and arm movements that transition from one position to another. The astas are widely varied emotional hand gestures that convey emotions or thoughts. The asamyukta category is made up of gestures made by a single hand, while the samyukta category is made up of gestures using both hands. The adavas are the 108 forms used to dictate the execution of steps that take place in the Bharatanatyam. These forms differ between styles, but for the most part are widely accepted between the different schools of learning. Many professional dancers have mastered up to 60 of these forms to use in their performances. Finally, the Vedas are the expressive movements of the neck, head, and eyes. These movements are not completely necessary for the dance to take place, but are rather considered almost like an icing to the dance that take it beyond simple execution and really into an art form. No true traditional Bharatanatyam performance can be considered final without the Vedas.
Music is heavily intertwined with Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam is always accompanied by South Indian classical music called Carnatic music, which is a music form even older than the dance form itself. The music is most often sung and sometimes accompanied by traditional instruments like the veena and the violin. Carnatic music originated in South India and derives its name from the region Karnataka. The musical form is categorized into different ragas, which are similar to different types of scales or modes in Western music, and these denote the melodic form of the song. The talam, or rhythm, keeps the beat of the song that is being sung. During the dance, the singer usually keeps the talam using small finger cymbals called manjira. The rhythm is also embellished using the mridangam, a small Indian drum. Carnatic music has independently existed in India for over 8 centuries, having diverged from the North Indian Hindustani music style around 12th century CE. Because India was and still is predominantly Hindu, all the arts are rooted in Hinduism. The music is always some form of prayer to the gods, storytelling about legends, or other religious elements, just like Bharatanatyam. The dance is set to a certain song, depending on what story is being depicted, and the words of the song are very closely linked to the movements and the expressions of the dancer. Carnatic music completes Bharatanatyam. Without music, the dance would lose meaning.
The dance is usually performed by a female dancer and accompanied with music and one or more singers. During the performance, her facial and hand gestures serve as sign language to tell a legend, ideas, or prayers. While performing, the dancer enacts both female and male roles. In modern adaptations, more dancers are included in the performance to play a different character each. Women were thought to be more suitable for the dance because of their looks, their costumes, and the jewelry they wear. Although it is traditionally danced by women, male dancers have been making a slowly appearance in the scene.
The attire for women dancing Bharatanatyam is similar to a Tamil Hindu bride. The women wear a sari made up of a combination of specially stitched pieces that fall from the waist. When the dancer bends or stretches her knees, the sari widens at the waist like a fan. The sari is usually bright and colorful and complemented with traditional jewelry that decorates the dancer's head, nose, ears, and neck. The dancers wear vivid face makeup. She has heavy lines drawn from her around her eyes, extending past her eyes. Her eyebrows are darkened and extended using liner, so her expression is easily depicted by the audience. The gungru, or leather anklets with metal balls attached to them, are worn as an essential piece to the costume because they make the rhythmic footwork of the dance audible. The feet and hands are often painted with henna to emphasize the movements of the hands and feet. Their hair is braided or plaited and oftentimes accessorized with flowers or other hair ornaments. As for men who perform Bharatanatyam, their costume is more simple than the women's. They wear a boti that covers their lower body and nothing covering their upper body. They wear the same leather anklets and the same eye makeup technique is applied to them as well.
In the modern day, the classical dance of Bharatanatyam is flourishing. Excellent institutional support as well as top performers such as Alarma Vali and Meenakshi Srinivasan dedicate their lives to mastering the countless nuances of the dance form and its various styles. Through their performances, they spread knowledge and understanding as well as carry on the rich heritage and tradition of the dance both locally and now internationally, creating an even greater awareness than ever before. Also, seeing as this is one of India's traditional classical dance forms as well as having deep cultural and spiritual roots, Bharatanatyam won't be leaving the dance arts anytime soon.